I can confidently say that this was one of the worst weeks of my life, especially in iRacing, which is basically my life. So stick with me as I walk you through the week of 10/01/25. Now this week largely takes place at the Bend Motor Speedway, something like that, in Adelaide, Australia, which is a super fun track, and it was in the Porsche Cup, which, if you don't know, no TC, no ABS, it's like the main thing on my channel. I am that car starting in P2 we're on board with right now with the red streaks on it. That car ahead starting in P1, car number 3 in the Falcon livery, good launch. Joey, who started in P3, we are on board right now with the kind of neon green streaks, gets a really good launch, and we split the difference actually and send car 3 wide in the middle. I go around the outside of T1, which is a giant chicane. I go all of the way to the white line on the opposite side. Joey manages to make it work up the inside and actually claims the inside for T3, pitting me against him 1v1. I'm on the outside. It's kind of like a little carousel slash hairpin, and I back totally out, so I remain in my position. Joey is up 2. The car who started in first place is now side by side with car number 4 as they head through the sweeping left-hander that leads to another hairpin, and he is going to lose not 1 but 2 positions, which pretty much gives me and Joey this track to ourselves. And I'm going to skip ahead quite a lot because we really did have the track to ourselves. There we are on lap number 10. We are pretty far away from P3 at this point. Really, the worst position I felt like I could get at this moment was P2, which is where we are. And going into lap number 11, T1, I'm going to try and make that P1, faking up the inside just to see if that could get into Joey's head a little bit. I think it does. He hits his marks just about perfectly, but he definitely overslowed there. I'd say we gained at least a tenth, 2 tenths through there. He's very narrow into the entry of this carousel slash hairpin that leads to that sweeping left and then into a big braking zone. So I'm kind of setting up for that move. Right now we are right on his tail. We've got the slipstream and we're headed towards a huge braking zone. I'm going up the inside for sure, braking late, getting side by side and trying to hold off the switchback, but I just fucking disappear. And that's it. My PC just crashed. I was actually streaming this race and the stream just ended there, and then I think that's the last that you guys probably saw of me for a long time. So Joey won. And we took a huge L. But I felt really fast on this track, and so we sent it again. The next race, it is raining, as you can tell, and I'm actually in the lead at this point, crossing on to lap number 4, and I'm out of fuel. I forgot to change from my quali setup to my race setup, so I entered a full race, it's like 15, 16 laps, with 4 laps of fuel, 3 laps of fuel, technically. I just went on to the 4th and ran out. So I had to pit from the lead of the race, and that would lose me a lot of I rating. But I am no quitter. So we go again. And this was a pretty good SOF. It was the quote-unquote SOF race, so there were a lot of points on the line. I'm currently sitting in P5, 2 of my teammates ahead of me. That's Fabian Ming directly ahead of me, and Kyle McGinnis, 2 positions ahead of me. Now I'm looking up the inside of the penultimate corner on Fabian, and you could say what you want about this move. I felt like that was pretty fair. It's a little bit of bumping, but I think that's a super clean move, in my opinion. So up into P4 and looking for a podium position, we're going to be fighting Kyle for this as we go into the same corner where I just disconnected a minute ago against Joey, looking up the inside, but it is weirdly wet. There's a puddle on the inside. I lose grip and murder my own teammate, kind of take myself out in the process there. I am able to rejoin. Kyle, I'm sorry. There is no excuse for that type of driving. That was, okay. I mean, it was bad driving. Now, this is lap number 5, and the reason I got kind of froze up there is because I'm side by side with this car right here. We're battling for P5 and going into the same corner that I just disconnected, and then I just killed Kyle. I'm going to do the same thing again, failed to get the car stopped, and take out myself and someone else.
I'm so sorry, Gareth. I'm so sorry. I'm
just going to pull over to the side and pit and leave this race because, fuck it, my mental was pretty far gone. And I think that the next race you're about to see displays that to the maximum.
Bet. This is my comeback.
It's going to. Wait, no, there is chance.
That is the look of a man who has nothing to lose and is ready to gamble his life. It's pretty clearly raining here. Me and Joey, who is the other voice you'll be seeing in this race, we were kind of playing with the idea of going on to dries on a pretty clearly wet track, hoping that it would dry up later on. I'm not going to say too much. I'm just going to let you enjoy this race.
The start is going to be interesting. You have to be really...
Don't tell
really
me what I
easy on
have
the
to
throttle.
be. I get to be whatever I want. I'm full
Okay.
throttle.
Everybody careful. Get it.
Oh, that guy's on wets. Oh, they're dead.
Oh Jesus!
A lot of people are on wets. Oh, it's definitely wets right now. But
Holy
it's gonna dry
fucking
up.
shit! It is wet.
Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
Like, oh, it's really wet.
We might have fucked up. This is not the same conditions as the SOF race. These are not even close.
No, it's gonna dry out though.
Did it rain more?
Just let them overtake.
Yep. We don't need to do nothing crazy here.
Wow, it's really wet.
It's really wet. I'm sorry. Okay, we're gonna be in last place pretty soon.
It's fine. It'll come to us.
It'll
We got
come
14
to us.
laps. This would be the craziest comeback story. Wow, I'm off the track.
Flying off behind you.
Raining? Or is that just...
No,
Wow,
it's
I'm
not raining.
Spinning? I'm spinning? Be very careful in the penultimate corner. No, I'm breaking to the same point. Don't worry.
Nah, fuck this. Fuck you.
Oh, we're paddling? Is that what we're doing?
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make this corner.
Yeah, you're on the inside. I have the dry line.
Hey,
I'm about-
sorry, everybody.
Oh, now I have the wet line.
My contact literally fell out of my eye, so...
I'm spinning. I think we made the wrong choice.
I think I need to pit and go to wets.
No, trust the process.
Okay, I'm gonna trust it. Okay, we should pit.
It's too late at this point. Like, the car feels fine.
Better late than never.
I'm understeering.
The
but,
car
like,
feels fine? Are you stupid? we gotta pit for wets. We can make it work still.
Are we pitting?
Oh my
Dude,
fucking...
oh my god.
I think we have to. I'm fucking spinning in that spot you spun in.
That's where I spun.
I know.
Are we pitting or are we staying out? 50 seconds till we're lapped. We can make that up.
If we
If we
pit,
just wait. We're on lap 3 out of 14. Trust me, we can do this. Don't pit.
what is happening, bro? Penalty. I have a drive-through. I have 17
Where
incidents.
are you?
I'm right behind you, and I have a drive-through.
I'm just gonna let them by.
Yeah.
It's drying up. It is feeling better.
It low-key
And
is
I mean,
feeling better.
We are only on lap 4 or 5 or whatever the lap they're
This
on.
is true, but we did just get lapped, and it's a pretty long lap.
Yeah, but think about it. We got lapped that early. If they're on wets and we're gonna be on dries when it is dry, we could lap them back, you know?
I don't think the difference between
Or-
like
We can at least overtake whoever is slow.
this is.
I don't think it's not even okay. If we switch to wets, the thing is, it's not even worth it because we're not gonna overtake anybody if we switch to wets.
Bro, I
We
mean,
might as well just risk the strategy and try whatever we're doing right now.
oh my fuck! I'm gonna get DQ'd before we can get to that point. Got him. About to hit him with the fucking craziest switchback you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh
right.
my
You have the
fucking
line,
god!
though.
Oh
I'm
my
drifting?
fucking god!
There's no way.
Oh
This is
shit!
dry
Oh
out.
shit!
That
See ya!
was-
See ya!
There's no way. Are you in the wall?
No, I'm good. What kind of shit are you
I'm down
on,
here
bro?
inside.
Yeah, I'm letting y'all go. I'm just.
Dude, this actually. Wait. It's drying out.
He's literally fucking sliding.
It's wet tires are gonna get cooked once it dries out.
That's a good point. I'm dead. Watch out. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you! Johnny, I'm gonna kill you!
This is flat out.
Oh
I'm
shit!
gonna kill this guy. You're gonna kill him. Oh
No,
my
I'm not.
God.
I'm on the track.
How did you stay on track?
See if we can keep up with what's his name? Abbas?
Oh, I might die here. Oh fuck. I gotta drive through. At this point, it feels like I'm driving on wets.
Go around. Go.
I might kill you. No, I'm fine.
Ooh. Not that it fucking matters at this point.
Trust me, just be optimistic. Yeah.
Okay, so that race didn't work out either. But that's fine, because the next week was Hockenheimring, and it was a lot higher SOFs. This was a 5.2 thousand SOF, which means that it's really good drivers. There's a lot of points on the line, and I'm in P5 as I cross on to the final lap. It should be easy to finish this race. I'm gonna move you guys. I mean, we're currently looking at me going through the penultimate corner. We're heading to the final corner. We're almost there. All I have to do is not wreck. And there's nowhere to wreck. It's a straight line to the finish. I'm almost there. I'm finally going to get some points back, crossing the line in P5, except that there's connection issues, and it puts me into P18 instead. I think we've all had these weeks where everything goes wrong, and even when you have an opportunity to make something right, you mess it up, and it just feels like you shouldn't even drive anymore. You should just give up. Well, I lost IR, but I'm not giving up. As a matter of fact, I'm doing the opposite. I'm going to racing school. I feel like that needs some explanation. KAIZEN Autosport is a team based at VIR, Virginia International Raceway. They run a flock of Genettas, track car rentals, arrive and drive programs, the premier school in the US, including track walks, the classroom, skid pad, the whole 9 yards with mock races. And they have a fucking Lamborghini Super Trofeo that they run all over the United States. This is the full 9 yards race team. And they invited me to participate in their race school, so I'll get to drive a real car. What is happening? I'm so hyped. I am so fucking hyped, and I'm gonna take you along the entire journey. A lot of it is gonna be in this right here. BMW M4 GT4 on iRacing is how I am going to prepare. Thankfully, they have the course that we will be driving in real life, the Patriot course at VIR in iRacing. How fucking sick is that? And I'm going to document everything from now until I get onto track, until after I get off of the track, showing you guys the mental side of it, because I have no idea how to truly prepare, or if I need to, or what it's, I don't know anything, you know? So this is a totally new experience for me, and I'm really excited to bring all of it to you, because you are the only reason any of this is possible for anybody. Well, for me specifically, but also, you know, you benefit other people in your life. Don't forget that. You do a lot for a lot of people, even if you don't realize it. You've done a lot for me, and I'm excited to bring you guys this new series. But for now, I need to learn the M4 GT4. And what better way to get comfortable with the car than to drive it around the Nordschleife, and even better, race it around the Nordschleife. If you have never seen this track, well, you're about to see a lot of it. It'll probably be pretty confusing because the laps are extremely long. Pace car is in, and the race is underway, starting in P3, and my goal for this whole week was really just to be as consistently on track and safe as possible, treating it as if this were a real car. Now, the car ahead of me in P2 getting a really bad run towards what is technically, or through the first corner of the Nordschleife, and I wanted to try and make something happen there, but it just wasn't quite to be, so I back out, remain in P3. It's a pretty dangerous place to pass, and I risk pulling both of us off of the leader if I did force the issue there. These cars do also have TC and ABS for those of you not familiar with the GT4 car. It's basically a super amped up production car. Like, usually they have a weaker brakes than the GT3 counterparts and less aero. They're just a little bit less of a race car, yet they are still a full-blown race car, not as much as a GT3. It's a long and complicated comparison to make. Now, through Flugplatz for the first time, staying in 5th gear, completely actually driving off of the track there, which is going to kill my run, and we are on board with the car in P4 here, who has a fantastic run relative to me, using that slipstream and just the better speed that he got out of Flugplatz because he didn't drive into the grass to get fully alongside before we head towards the extremely fast left-hander. I am just keeping parking my car in the middle of the road. I think there was space out there, but unfortunately we did make contact. It opens up the door for P5 to look up the inside of the right-hander following it, and they're side by side there. The dream scenario for me. They're actually making contact all of the way through the exit, giving me plenty of room to breathe, and on top of that, the Porsche goes through. So the Porsche takes P4, which is pretty big for me because the BMW was by far the strongest car at the Nordschleife. So that Porsche is kind of acting as a buffer for me in between, me and Ross Banfield, who is in P5 right now. And the storyline here is really between these two. Honestly, for the rest of the race, it's going to be mostly focused around these guys. The Porsche completely missing muck curve and driving into the wall, which allows Ross Banfield through, and up comes a Mustang side by side through the kink after muck curve. Does not really work out for the Mustang there as he gets driven into the dirt. Takes a look up the inside, but it's not quite going to happen. And I gotta give props to this Porsche because the Porsche did not seem very strong. This is also the fixed series, so all of these cars are running a set setup that cannot be changed, and I think that's really what made the difference from car to car. The BMW's fixed setup felt so much stronger and just easier to drive than a lot of these other cars. That being said, it was really, really cool, and I was kind of rooting for that Porsche behind me because if you've seen the channel or know who I am a Porsche fanboy. I am driving the BMW, of course, because KAIZEN Autosport is offering me a BMW for this racing school, so I want to get used to the front engine, but I do want to focus the rest of this race basically on this Porsche, who is fighting for his life. He's actually keeping up with this BMW for the entirety of the lap, which was amazing, and he was so close that he might actually get an opportunity to pass on the Dottinger, and I hadn't seen any car really go past a BMW on the straight yet. He does really well to stay in slip, and by the end of the Dottinger, or at least halfway through that Bilstein bridge, he's just about there, but I just kind of runs into the back of the BMW. Space was open on the inside, didn't take it. A Mustang decides to take it, and he says, no sir, takes up the entire road, maintaining that position, so not getting past the BMW, but showing some, placing his car very nicely to defend his position at the very least. And honestly, it looks like the BMW is holding him up as they cross onto lap 2. Props to this guy, and watching this back was just, it was awesome for me. I literally had not seen anybody outside of a BMW perform like that throughout this entire week, and I had watched quite a lot of races. Now, skipping ahead to the final lap, the front two were battling for most of this race, and I just didn't have the pace through most of the lap to keep up. The Porsche and the BMW behind also still going at it for P4, and it was really interesting to see the differences through the corners between these two cars. I'm not sure if that BMW driver at the front was like super comfortable with his car, if it was perhaps a driver difference or what was going on, but watching this back really made me wish that I had driven the Porsche more because it looks so good through the corners. It's just so flowy. It looks like it can take a tighter line and get less understeer, which was a problem that I was facing sometimes with that BMW. It was really satisfying to watch, and he almost has a go at through muck curve there, but backs off and decides, at this point the only place he really has to pass is on the Dottinger, which seems plausible by the way that we saw him catch up on the Dottinger at the end of lap 1. If he holds a similar gap, he could definitely make that happen. And I want to say like maybe he was pushing too hard, but honestly his inputs look so smooth. It's just an uncharacteristic, I guess it's characteristic of a Porsche, but snap oversteer, the rear end goes around just before YouTube corner, and he flies off to the side at a horrible, horrible place to rejoin, and I'm sure his mental was just totally gone. He actually starts to drive like to the left, and then he wants to back it up. I feel like if he had just, turned right until he went the right direction, he would have been fine. There's something going on here. He is stuck here, waiting for everybody to go past. He's lost probably 20-something seconds at least. Eventually he does get back on track, and at this point I think he's fighting for around P9 or 10, which isn't a bad result for the Porsche. Like, that's where I expect this car to be, pretty aggressive on the defense out of YouTube corner, and I understand it. He's just lost so many positions. He's trying not to lose any more, and he doesn't have very long to go. It's a few more corners and then he's onto the Dottinger, but that rear end, man, it just starts sliding. He's four-wheel sliding. All of a sudden he's sideways, loses a wing into the wall. It just keeps getting worse for him. Very sad to see, but it was exciting to watch his battle. Props. Now we are totally by ourselves in P3. The front two still going at it, and I believe they switched positions there, but I pretty much had a race completely on my own, and it was a very clean race, which felt good. We eventually crossed the line in P3. Pace wasn't great, but I felt very safe and confident in the car, which is good. That's kind of what I was looking for, was a P3, so still a podium, which is awesome. These guys at the front were just too fast for me. I felt like I would get my pace up there, but it just wasn't there yet. We did gain iRating though, which is huge considering all of the races you saw in the beginning of this video. Wasting no time, into the next race. I'm starting in P2 for this one. We're on board with Renee, who's starting P4, and he is just, I guess he's trying to warm his tires up here, just whips it way too far back to the right, gets a moment of a four-wheel slide, and then ends up in the wall, losing his front bumper before the race has even started. I cannot imagine how annoying that must be to start the race with no front bumper. I'm sure that that causes a ton of issues and probably handicaps the BMW pretty harshly. In the scheme of this race, it's not a bad thing for me, because as we get underway, we are, I mean, well, the car, two cars behind us now has no front bumper, so it should be pretty easy for us to at least solidify a podium. We have Lars Book right behind us, and up ahead of us we have William C. Rasmussen, who is another person that if you have been watching the channel, you know him very well. He drives with us all the time, fantastic driver, and he's kind of going to be helping me along my journey to get ready for the racing school, as he races quite a bit in real life. Now, through the first sector, I am going to drive into a wall. It's not a huge mistake, but it does completely pull me off of Will and put me under pressure from Lars. So there are a couple of ways to go about this. I could say, you know, I just need to keep Lars behind me at this point, which is a defensive mindset and technically doesn't really require me to put in good laps, or I could say I want to get back into Will's slipstream and challenge him for position, which I think is a better way to think about it. Lots of thinking going on, but that just kind of keeps me in the mindset of actually driving my own laps and putting in good pace. Now, paying attention to Renee, who is a couple of positions behind us, and it looks like he is being outright beaten in pace on the straight by a Mercedes. Not normal there. He's narrow entering the left-hander, and it sends him deep onto the inside of Arenberg, something like that. The Mercedes looking for a switchback. Renee does a good job at covering it off, keeping that car on the exit, and maintains P4 for the time being. We're still being chased down by Lars, but through Foxhole, I feel like I'm starting to connect with the car. This was definitely one of my best corners, I think. Consistently my best corners, not necessarily blazing pace, but I didn't really ever make any big mistakes through Foxhole, which is interesting because in the Porsche Cup I struggled through there. In this car it feels really smooth, oddly, because this car does tend to have a more aggressive driving style. I think, at least it feels like that to me. It is weird though, because you steer less in this car than you would in the Porsche Cup. It rotates very nicely. I don't know if that's just the BMW that does that or if all of the GT4s feel that way, but it is an absolute blast to drive. Now, through Bergwerk, we made up some decent time to Will. We are in the slipstream, so it's helping us out quite a bit, and we have a long straight coming up here. Totally lost Lars, and Renee is kind of the storyline I want to touch on, as he is holding back a Mercedes and a BMW as they go flying through towards Mud Curve, and this is a big opportunity for anybody behind someone. Like, he has a ton of slip. That Mercedes obviously has a huge amount of overspeed, and he now has the inside from Mud Curve. This is going to be dangerous for Renee. He's on the outside. He tucks to the inside though, making sure to not give up two positions at once. However, I think there's a lack of downforce from not having that front end and that splitter, so he just completely washes wide, and now he has a Mustang staring at his rear end, and he must have been looking really vulnerable. I mean, he drives off the track again there because the Mustang just slings it up the inside. Very aggressive move, making contact. Honestly, well done though. That's a pretty beautiful move. Aggressive, yeah, a little bit, but I mean, that's racing. That was actually really nicely done. And we are still chasing down Will. Now, entering the second half of the track after, well, I think it's a little bit past the second half. We just went out of the carousel, and Will is so fast here. He is just so fast, or maybe I am just so slow. As we enter into YouTube corner, I've probably already lost a tenth or two at least after Mud Curve, basically, because I was sucked up by that slipstream, and now I'm losing all of it, and then completely whiffing this left-hander up the hill. That actually gives me a slowdown, so it seems not that bad at the moment, but I have to serve a second slowdown over the next like 20 seconds, and I tried to push it way too far. Like, I didn't really slow down through the jump. and I realized that that kind of forces me into a position where I'm going to have to lift on this flat out section. So I am almost totally off of the throttle all of the way down this super fast section before we get onto the Dottinger, and Lars is going to close right up to me. Really shitty place for me to get a slowdown, because now we're almost to the Dottinger and he is going to have quite a lot of help from the slipstream. So I realized that I'm actually looking at possibly having to defend this at the end of the Dottinger, and if I am able to defend it, I'm going to have to put in a really solid next lap to break away from Lars. Otherwise, it's going to be the same push and pull that you see on the Nordschleife a lot, where somebody just follows through all of the lap and then looks for a move on the Dottinger if they remain close enough. Now, we did decently through that final corner onto the Dottinger to actually separate ourselves just enough that I didn't think he was getting much slipstream, but just to be safe, I am going to be swerving left and right down the Dottinger. Some people hate seeing this, but like, there's no rule against it on iRacing, and if it benefits you, use it to your advantage. It seemed to do pretty well because he didn't really catch me on the Dottinger much at all. I may have overbroke through the final segment of corners here, but I felt pretty safe. I think we still had about 4 tenths to him, maybe 5 tenths, and it just comes down at this point to me running some clean laps and trying to outrun him through most of the lap itself. Completely missed that first apex there. Pretty painful to watch. That, I'm sure, helps him mentally, if not actually help close up that gap. Seeing somebody ahead of you just completely whiff an apex and understeer into oblivion is always fun. However, through the first sector, we hook it up pretty nicely, and Lars doesn't really seem to be doing anything wrong here. Perhaps just underdriving the car a bit too much, as the GT4s are a car that it feels like the harder you push, the more pace you can find, which is pretty cool. Now, we had been pushing decently hard enough to create a large gap to Lars behind. But Will was gone, man. Like, by the time we crossed the line, or coming through these final corners, he might be out of the freaking race. He's 5 seconds ahead of us crossing the line. He was flying. He has a really, really strong connection to these cars. He's a very fast driver. Now, P2 for us. Pretty happy with that. I wish that I hadn't gotten that slowdown. I don't know if I would have been able to hold the candle to Will anyway, but I would have liked to try. Green in both areas. Doesn't get any better than that, so on to the next one we go. And you remember how I was talking about how shitty it must be to not have a front bumper for, well, basically the entire race? Well, this would be a race where I get to experience that in full. And ended up actually being a really fun one. You'll see very quickly where things go wrong. Lap number 1 is underway, starting in P4. Decent place to begin. Was truly wanting to move forward. The podium position, I mean, the podium's right there, so I had a pretty good chance as long as I kept it clean, which I've kind of spoiled. That's not going to happen, but at the time, that was the hope. Now, the GT4s have really cold tires when you start, and the cold tires on these cars truly do affect the way that you drive, at least this first sector, which, very similar to what happened at the beginning of last race, I'm going to go into the same wall, except this time almost take out a McLaren as I slide back across the track, and look at that shot. Almost killed 2 people there. Luckily, nobody was hurt except for myself. There's a huge line coming behind me, like I'm joining into the middle of a train, and I have no front bumper at this point. I'm side by side with the BMW. I wasn't trying to impede these guys, but I, of course, was trying to like negate the amount of positions I lose. I'm side by side with the McLaren as we go towards Flugplatz for the first time, and the power of the BMW prevails past the damage that has been done to my front end. I'm actually able to almost fully clear him before we get into Flugplatz. I pull over to the left as much as I can. He's side by side with the BMW. Great situation for me, except for the fact that the BMW did go through, and I'm sure that that BMW is going to have an easier time getting past me than that Mercedes would have. But nonetheless, we continue on in P11 for the time being. Could have been much worse. Started P4 down to P11 with damage. The car is not turning here, and I see now like why Renee was having trouble with this corner. I'm holding the inside though. BMW on the outside tries to turn into me, and I'm holding back. I mean, every position from 12th to like 20 something behind me. I've got a huge train and a gap opening ahead of me. I realized it was probably going to make the most sense if I couldn't keep up with these guys to have somebody pass me, and against my will, I think that might end up happening in a second, because through the fast corners, that's where I was really struggling. Without that splitter and that kind of front end downforce, I just like turning the car didn't really do much in the early entry to a corner. I'm wide all of the way through. Miss, hit, miss, I missed, and now I'm into the dirt, tucking behind a BMW, trying to negate another position loss. I'm down into P12, being tailed by another BMW, so I'm in a BMW sandwich as a BMW. It's like if you take an Oreo and put a half of another Oreo where the cream should be, except the kicker is that part of an Oreo that's in the middle just cannot get his car turned, and really not getting a good exit there, slowing down the BMW behind me, having to overslow my car to even get it to turn, and it was just painful, man. My straight line speed is down, the slipstream isn't helping much, I cannot get the car turned. Similar to Renee, I'm gonna go deep there, lose a position, and I think that puts me down into P13 for the time being, which isn't great, but there was a glimmer of hope in that a McLaren and a Porsche kind of led this group ahead of me, and I've touched on it multiple times. The BMW is the fastest car. This is not a BMW, this is a Porsche, which is not the fastest car. So I was kind of hoping that those cars would keep this group back enough that I would be able to keep up with them, tail them through the Dottinger, use that slipstream to my advantage, and just really stay with the group, maybe look to make up positions at some point later on during the race. I really just knew that if all of these guys left from me without slipstream, I would be absolutely hopeless. Like, I would probably fall back to whoever is behind me. Right now it's Raymond Tiu, who is 2 seconds behind me, and then I would probably just tumble backwards from there. So I wanted to stay with these guys as much as I could, and we're in a pretty fast section of the track, which is not good for me, because without that front splitter, it just did not turn. It had no front end on entry, and I really started to suffer through here. I am way over cranking the steering on a lot of these corners. I'm over slowing the car to try and find that mechanical grip on my front end, and I couldn't really tell if I was actually doing a good job or not, because I think this group was being slowed down by that Porsche at the front, which is fantastic for me. But I felt it in every single corner. Like, at some point I was going to make a mistake or send it in a bit too hot, and through the jump is where that would come, as the car just does not rotate at all. I almost drive completely off of the track there, and they just leave me, which is a horrible time for them to leave me, because we're almost to the Dottinger. I was so close to staying with them. But all hope is not lost, because this large group is going to yield some fighting, and the BMWs want to go through, looking to make a move around this McLaren just before that second carousel. And I mean, it's a smart move to try and make, because if this McLaren slows down a ton onto the Dottinger, you know, that BMW could lose a ton of time and perhaps lose those that BMW ahead. Now, I'm basically back with them because of that little bit of fighting, and they just overall didn't seem to be that quick. Like, I could actually kind of keep up with them through most of the corners, albeit not making that one happen, just completely wide there, and really had to hesitate onto the throttle. We kind of touched on the fact that my slipstream was not as effective as a lot of these other guys, so I was kind of falling back on the Dottinger, unfortunately. Now, the BMW at the front already got past the Porsche. This BMW, who was kind of in the middle, is looking to make it a 3-wide situation with this McLaren, who I thought was going to be in the middle, but he actually doesn't even have enough speed to get past the Porsche, and then he lifts for some reason, and that really kills it for him. Now another BMW is going through, and that McLaren falls to the back, which kind of sucks for me, because I wanted him to be as far forward for as long as possible to slow these guys down. I think he realized, though, that, you know, he didn't really have a chance, and just said, I would rather not die while one of you makes a move, which is smart of him. But now he has a BMW with no front end right behind him, and I'm sure that's not what he wants to see in his rear view. You know, if you're already kind of worried about the BMWs being overly aggressive and just naturally faster cars, then one that's damaged is definitely not one that you want to be defending. And I felt like I was being actually pretty passive with him here. I was staying pretty close to him through this first sector, and unfortunately I do end up just running into the back of him here, but that's kind of how I always take that sector. I was not expecting him to slow down as much as he did, but I also haven't driven around many McLarens, so maybe that's normal for them. Luckily, that contact really had no consequences. It was a 0x for both of us, and I don't think, well, it's not like I'm getting any more damage on my front end, but I don't think he got any on his rear end either. taking it super slow through Flugplatz. Like, the car did not turn through there last lap, and I was assuming that it would not turn again. Getting right back onto the tail of the McLaren, who is now on the tail of the Porsche, who's been passed by all of the BMWs, which is kind of a bad thing for me, because if I don't get past these two in time, those BMWs are going to be gone. I fully expected that they would be, and the Porsche is deep, almost losing his car, but manages to keep it on track. I get a really good exit relative to the McLaren and move up onto the inside as we head towards Bergwerk, and this should hopefully give me the position. He was very, very polite with the other BMWs on the Dottinger, and no different for me. He knows that there's just no point there. Even a damaged BMW is faster than a McLaren around here, or, well, than that McLaren specifically. Tailing the Porsche now, who actually got a decent amount of slipstream because the BMW ahead got a pretty bad run onto this straight, and it's not enough. He just pulls over and says, fuck it, I don't want to die, can't blame you. He falls back to join his McLaren back there, and we move up with the BMW crowd pretty close onto the tail of Dave, who is currently P10. So I mean, 10's not great. P10 is not a great position. We started in P4, but it's better than P11, which is where I currently am. So obviously I want to take that from him, and I'm going to try as hard as I can through this second sector to keep up. But I mean, yeah, I'm skipping ahead. You can see that I'm struggling, and through the jump, it's not getting any better. It's pretty similar to the last lap. I went down into fourth gear this time and overslowed the car to avoid going onto that curb like I did on the last lap, but going onto the Dottinger, and we still were just totally, I mean, we were just too far back. Now, the final lap comes around. We have pretty much dusted the Porsche and McLaren behind us, and those three BMWs up ahead had all kind of congealed into a little group. So that's P10, P9, and P8, and that means that there's opportunity for us, because when people are this close, you never know when an accident is going to happen, and I'll be honest, most of the time it never actually does. But in this scenario, car number 26 breaks late into Foxhole. The white BMW we were on board with, I guess he thought he was setting something up here and just fucking commits to something that wasn't really there, completely murders car number 26, and I am just barely there enough to pick up the pieces. If I were half a second behind, I think that pink BMW would have just driven onto the track probably and tried to maintain the position, and he probably would have, because I struggled for the entirety of this final lap onto the Dottinger. I was swerving left and right. The cars up ahead were still battling, and I was really hoping that somebody would die here and I would get shifted up into P8 or P9. They're side by side into the final section of corners, and unfortunately, well, I guess it's a good thing that nobody died, but in the POV of my race, I would have obviously liked that and liked a free position, almost actually getting caught by the pink BMW through the final couple of corners, but we bring it home for a P10, which I said just a minute ago, not great, but it's better than P11 where we were at the start of this lap. So not the best race, but probably the most fun one for me of the week. It's really fun to try and manage a damaged car. It sucks, but it's still fun. Now, we were red in both areas, but I'll be honest, I am totally numb to losing IR at this point. Now, finally, we are starting at the front. I did another qualifying lap, and it put us with a decent time. I think it was like a 7:01 flat or something, immediately onto the throttle as soon as the safety car goes in, and I am gunning for it, building up a somewhat decent gap before we even get into the first corner of half a second, and through this first sector it would open up pretty quickly. My main focus, just not wrecking the car in this first sector, which is what I was doing on a lot of these races, and I managed to keep it clean, keep the cold tires on the track, and from this point there was just really nothing that P2 could do. Skipping ahead to the final lap, and there goes my car. And there goes P2. Yeah, we just kind of drove this one on home. Felt really good. Didn't do amazing lap times, but really didn't make any major mistakes on this one. No slides, no slowdowns. P1, baby. We cooked with that one. I mean, to be honest, this is one that I clearly should have won. The car behind was not quite up to pace, but nonetheless, it's something to be proud of. A win is a win, and it is nice to see the double green regardless of the numbness that I have to iRating now. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the playlist in the description, the video on your screen, and subscribe.